and welcome to Mississippi Insight. I'm Byron Brown. Thank you for joining us. Today, we'll hear from the political headliners at the Neshoba County Fair. Governor Tate Reeves and House Speaker Gunn reach out for the hearts, minds, and votes of a conservative crowd. Their speeches last week may offer a preview of a potential primary challenge for the sitting Republican governor. Governor Reeves' speech to the predominantly Republican audience ran about 20 minutes. He highlighted some of the immense challenges the state has faced under his leadership. We're going to play you excerpts from the governor's Neshoba speech, edited for time.
Despite it all, Mississippi has stood strong. We sacrificed. We helped our fellow Mississippians in their time of need. We proved why Mississippi is called the hospitality state. And I want everybody here to know I have never been prouder to be a Mississippian. God willing, the fair will never be canceled again. God willing, we'll never have to encounter another pandemic again. But if we do, there's no place I'd rather be than right here in Mississippi. I want to personally thank every single one of you. I want to thank you for what you have done to help us get through the last year and a half. And let me say, one place that we have really shown the nation how to lead the way is in education. Yep, you heard me right. Mississippi has led the entire nation in education over the last year. While teachers in some other states kept kids chained to laptops or cell phones and pretended it was school, Mississippi insisted on in-person instruction. Other states said, we can't, but Mississippi teachers said, yes, we can. And they did. Their efforts are paying dividends. Mississippi was recently ranked first in the nation for fourth grade reading improvements over the last 3 years. Mississippi was recently ranked first in the nation in fourth grade math improvements over the last 3 years. Now, the Biden administration loves to throw around the term equity. Well, here in Mississippi, both black and white students from low-income homes have achieved higher scores than the national average in all 4 NAEP testing subjects. And when the pandemic hit, our teachers knew that we could not afford to give up that momentum. They knew that our kids had to get all the instruction we could give them. I will tell you, again, I have never been prouder to be a Mississippian. A year ago, I spent much of the summer working with our education and healthcare experts, trying to figure out how we could get our kids back in school. I spent almost every single weekday in July urging local school districts to get on board and make a plan as quickly as possible. What happened? Mississippi schools responded. And I believe that merit must be rewarded. That is why today I am calling for another pay raise for our teachers. They earned it in the pandemic, and they have proven that they are committed to moving our kids forward. Now, everybody that's here today that's taking the time to be with us knows that I'm a fiscal conservative. Spending tax money on new things is not my nature. But educational attainment is my priority. And it would be wrong for us not to demonstrate that we appreciate the Mississippi teachers and the fact that they outdid the rest of America during COVID. Now, the local media loves to tell you that we are last in teacher pay. Sometimes I think many in the local media just love to run Mississippi down. The fact is that claim is not accurate. Right now, Mississippi ranks 37th in teacher pay when adjusted for cost of living. That is not last. But it's also not good enough. Y'all, we can do better. So today, I am proposing an immediate $1,300 a year across the board teacher pay raise, followed by $1,000 per year in each of the next 2 fiscal years. If we are successful in getting this done, this additional $3,300 a year, on top of the $1,000 we did this year, this pay raise will result in Mississippi going from 37th nationally to 21st, and 4th in the Southeast United States. And it will help us attract the top-tier educators that our children deserve. And I believe that it will also make sure that any teacher who wants to be in Mississippi can afford to teach in Mississippi. Passing this teacher pay raise will be a priority for me in the coming legislative session, and I hope it will be a priority for you as well.
We'll have more from Governor Reeves' speech when Mississippi Insight returns on WJTV.
My administration will continue to invest in workforce training so that all Mississippians have the skills that they need to succeed. Now, that economic growth was good for the private sector, but it was also pretty good for state government, too. Mississippi just ended our fiscal year having collected $1 billion more than was originally anticipated. This is because while the rest of the country shut down, we reopened. Unlike the states that were run by the Democrats, Mississippi was the first to reopen and one of the fastest to lift pandemic mandates. Now, I was proud to sign those orders to keep us open, but I didn't do the hard work. Nope. You know who did the hard work? You did. You did the hard work. You woke up. You went to your job. You provided for your family. And yes, you helped move our state ahead. And in my view, because of that, you should reap the rewards. You should keep more of your paycheck. You're the reason why we're in the great financial shape that we're in, and that's why I stand before you today and propose, once and for all, that we eliminate the state income tax in Mississippi.
That's Governor Reeves Thursday at the Neshoba County Fair, highlighting his tax swap plan and this year's rebound in state revenues. It's noteworthy that most of that revenue growth stems from federal transfers, including those COVID relief checks that went out to hundreds of thousands of Mississippians. Well, the governor also spoke at length about the state's response to the COVID pandemic, and he waded into the debate over renewed masking in public places.
Commissioner Kane and his team inherited an absolute crisis at the Department of Corrections, but they are doing the necessary work to significantly improve conditions in our prison system, both for our inmates and for our employees and our prison guards. Bob Anderson and his team at DHS have picked up the pieces of a broken agency to provide services to Mississippi families in need while working closely with federal authorities to safeguard taxpayers' money. Andrea Sanders and her team at CPS have been working day and night to focus that agency on the needs of those young kids that are in our state's foster care system. And the mental health lawsuit we inherited is nearing an end because we have gotten the state in substantial compliance. I mention those things simply for the following reason. As you can tell, even though many in our Mississippi press have only focused on COVID for the last year and a half, we have been hard at work doing the job that you elected me to do. Speaking of COVID, and because I know every question I get after this speech is going to be focused on that, let me say a word or two about where we find ourselves. Every government action that was taken last year was to protect the integrity of our healthcare system and to bridge the gap to the time when a vaccine was made available. President Trump's Operation Warp Speed delivered that miracle vaccine. And we did it in record time. 1.2 million Mississippians have chosen to get vaccinated. Others have chosen a different path. And I will always defend those individuals' rights to decide what is best for them and their families. Tuesday's change in the CDC mask guidance is foolish and it is harmful. It reeks of political panic so as to appear they are in control. It has nothing, let me say that again, it has nothing to do with rational science. In Mississippi, we believe in freedom. Thomas Jefferson once said, "The policy of the American government is to leave its citizens free, neither restraining them nor aiding them in their pursuits." In our state, we are a free people. It was Benjamin Franklin who said, "Freedom is not a gift bestowed upon us by other men, but a right that belongs to us by the laws of God and nature." In Mississippi, it is our belief in God that has gotten us through the last year and a half. And it is my belief in God that gives me great optimism for what is going to come for our great state. My friends, thank you for giving me this great honor to serve as your 65th governor. It is the honor of my life. If life sometimes throws us curveballs, and we've started to see a curveball or two in the last year and a half. But what you have done has made me proud. And I conclude once again by saying this. I've never, ever been prouder to be a Mississippian than I am today. Thank you all, and God bless.
House Speaker Philip Gunn's speech to the Neshoba crowd had very little to say about COVID-19, but he had plenty to say about critical race theory. Gunn's views and a legislative pledge after the break. Welcome back to Mississippi Insight. I'm Byron Brown. We've discussed on earlier editions of this program how House Speaker Philip Gunn appears poised to run in the Republican gubernatorial primary. Speaker Gunn spoke for about 12 minutes at the Neshoba County Fair Thursday, preceding the governor, and he touched on some similar themes, including tax swap plans and alleged socialist views by the Democratic opposition.
In Mississippi, we don't put our trust in the government. Our state motto is not "in government we trust." Our state motto is "in God we trust." And it's more than just a motto, it's the foundation of everything that we do. We recognize that our rights come from God and that He created every one of us equal. We know that the United States is the first nation in history to boldly declare those truths. We are the first nation in history that pursues liberty and justice for all. And countless Americans have paid the ultimate price in pursuit of that more perfect union. If we're going to honor our country and honor their sacrifice, we've got to honor and respect our country. No other nation has a record of pursuing these God-given rights than the United States of America. The same God that gave us these freedoms also commanded us to love our neighbor. When we love our neighbor, we reject the us versus them politics of the socialists. When we love our neighbors, we will not rest until we provided all the opportunities we have to offer to each Mississippian. We will insist on building what I call an infrastructure of opportunity. What does this infrastructure of opportunity look like? Well, it pursues our best hopes, not our worst fears. It doesn't listen to hatred or grievance, but it promotes the best we have to offer. We meet challenges by building coalition, not division. We don't just preach to the choir, we seek converts. It means building an economic system that rejects the redistribution of wealth and rejects further dependency upon the government. It believes in freedom, not free stuff. It doesn't promise you an equal outcome, but it does promise you a fair chance. It insists on providing an opportunity for all, and it demands personal responsibility from all. It insists on offering genuine economic opportunity to all Mississippians. In America, ordinary people can achieve great heights that they cannot achieve anywhere else. Why is that? Because in America, we allow you to reap what you sow. We allow you to get the benefits of your hard work. It is our devotion to free enterprise that makes America the greatest country in the world. The socialist agenda being pushed today in our country threatens to dismantle that free enterprise system. We must reject any politics that seeks to dismantle the free enterprise system of our country. That's why we in the House of Representatives are trying to push to eliminate your income tax. We believe if we eliminate the income tax in the state of Mississippi, it will result in greater economic prosperity for you and for our state. When we put more money into your pockets, you are better able to provide for your family. You can improve their quality of life. You can improve the quality of your community. You can give more to your church. Last year, we in the House of Representatives passed a plan that seeks to put us on the road to eliminating your personal income tax. This year, we're working with the Senate to make that happen. The socialists want to take your money and give it to somebody else. We're trying to find a way to put the money back into your pockets. And while we're talking about hard work and reaping what you sow, I've got to make a brief comment about the situation our federal government has created by providing excessive unemployment benefits to workers. We've heard from employers all around the state who are frustrated because they cannot get people to come back to work. That's because of the excessive unemployment benefits that are being paid to people when jobs are readily available. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't afford to pay people not to work when jobs are readily available. People are supposed to work. It's the American way. The government needs to stop subsidizing people to stay home and not work. That's why we called on the governor to stop the excess payments that the state of Mississippi was giving to people who are refusing to work. And in response to our appeal, he did so. Another part of this infrastructure of opportunity is a competitive and innovative healthcare system, one that embraces free market competition. We reject all healthcare policies that seek to put more people onto government dependency and make our healthcare providers more dependent upon you, the taxpayer. We cannot foster opportunity by adding people to our government healthcare rolls and forcing you already overburdened taxpayers to fit or to pay the tab. That just raises up one set of people at the expense of another. We need to lower costs of health care by introducing competition into the system. Another socialist agenda item that's being pushed is critical race theory. This is an attempt to introduce racism into our schools. Ladies and gentlemen, every society, we know the history of every society that has embraced racism has failed. We know the devastating effects that racism can have on society. We in Mississippi know firsthand how that can be, what the devastating effects will be. And that's exactly why we must fight against this attempt to reintroduce racism back into our schools and undo all the progress that we've made. Ladies and gentlemen, we just can't take that chance. I'm reminded of the old boy from Neshoba County who sent his mother-in-law on a trip to the Holy Land. And she died while she was over there. And they called the old boy and he said, "We hate to tell you this, but your mother-in-law has died in the Holy Land. Do you want us to bury her here, or do you want us to send the body on home?" He said, "Well, what does it cost?" They said, "Well, it's only $200 if we bury her here, but it's $10,000 if we have to fly the body on home." The old boy thought for a minute. He said, "Well, I guess you better send the body on home." They said, "Well, we'll do that. But why do you want to go to that kind of expense?" He said, "Y'all buried a fellow over there one time. He rose after 3 days. I just can't take that chance." Ladies and gentlemen, we can't take the chance on critical race theory. We cannot allow it to be introduced into our schools. The socialists seek to turn Americans against each other and against this country by introducing critical race theory into our schools. We need to find ways to bring people together, not tear them apart. What we should do What we should not do is allow our educational system to teach that one race is better than another. Those days in Mississippi are behind us. Such teachings have no place in our schools. That's why your Mississippi House of Representatives is poised to introduce legislation in the next session to prevent teaching of these ideas in our schools.
House Speaker Philip Gunn speaking there to clarify there are no schools teaching critical race theory curriculums or any education policies to teach it anywhere in the state's public education system. We'll be right back. Well, we want to thank 12 News' Tao Ta and Anthony Howard for their hard work covering the political stumping in Neshoba County last week. We'll be back next weekend with more of the political and current affairs coverage that you demand. I'm Byron Brown. From all of us here at 12 News, make it a great weekend.